Stavros Tousios for M4Markets, and today we're going to have a quick look at Aussie and dollar against the Swiss franc. You know, we actually see a move to the upside that has been sustained for a while. However, we still seem to be on a larger trend to the downside. So signals that suggest there is more downside gap are preferred than signals that they are potentially hinting at a potential move to the upside. Now, why are we looking at this? First of all, we have just returned back within this base channel to the upside, right? Which means that trend acceleration is waning down. And at the same time, while we do see that, we have had repetitive signals that there is a momentum weakening, okay? And after, of course, that top over here, which again gave us a short-term divergence to the downside, okay, a signal, markets started to fall. A level to watch, a very important level to watch, is the 65.25, okay? At the other very important level to watch, apart from the top, of course, at 68.50, it's also the previous peak at 68. It's also a round number, okay? So it would be possible that if we do go back up again, we might stop at the 68. Okay, that might also give us an opportunity to potentially see something like of head and shoulders forming here. Okay, but it's a bit too early to speak about the head and shoulders. What is more critical to speak about right now? How this trend line is going to fare. Okay, and as you can see so far, we have three different higher lows over here. Okay, successive, and we are at 66.85. I would probably say that we'll have to use the 50 Fibonacci here again, as always, guys. The 50 Fibonacci, very important, don't forget. And look at this. If we do go above the 67.70 or so, then that would probably imply that the short-term bias it's going to tend to the upside. But as long as we remain below the 50, okay, now there is, due to the signals, of course, that we see here on the RSI as well, there is more potential for downside. Let's jump now quickly on dollar against the Swiss franc. If we look at the trend in the larger sort of time span, we see that it's upside. If we look at the trend in the medium term, the trend is more to the downside. We have had a very big drop over here, but the interesting thing is that we have put a low in, and while we did do that, okay, we've also had two successive signals of a bullish divergence in this case. Okay, so since we are above this level, which is a critical level in my opinion, okay, there is potential for a further bounce to the upside. Okay, that further bounce to the upside will have stiff resistance around the 94.80, but more importantly around the 95.50. Okay, because this is a higher activity level. Okay, around this territory there is more activity than just, for example, up at 96, but 96 is also a level. Okay, now another thing to mention here, guys, is that we are moving up currently, okay, and the way that we're moving up, we haven't yet reached an overbought territory. Okay, the moment we do reach overbought territory, it will be very likely that we're going to see another signal coming in. Okay, and that will be probably something that is going to give us a pullback. Now, depending on that pullback, on the pullback's depth, I would say, if it's shallow, then it will be more likely that we're going to go up and meet the 96 once we break, of course, successfully this top. And from there, we see how that thing is going to pan out. But there is likelihood for 98 and even up here to the high momentum candle at 98.80 or so. Okay, but if the move is steep and we see the 61.8 reached here, or perhaps even the 78.9, and let me just quickly show you. Let's just assume that we're going to go up here, right? Depending on the correction, you know, anything to 38, it's shallow. Anything below 50 or 61.8, it's deep. Okay, so if we lose 61.8, then it will be more likely that we're going to see one more leg to the downside, okay, before we actually start moving up in sort of, you know, more engaging way. And that could then turn into a wedge, especially if we turn sooner rather than later. But the indication here from the RSI is that bias and momentum shows that there is potential for upside.